I mean, this divorce is affecting me in every way. It's affecting all my relationships.
The courtroom had gone still, not quiet, but haunted. You could feel it. The air wasn't just heavy with tension, it was trembling with truth that had been buried for too long. And then, Meri stood. Her voice, the same voice that once spoke in soft sighs and quiet surrender, suddenly sliced through the silence like a blade. "I have proof," she said, her hand trembling but resolute, holding up a single envelope. The sound of that word, proof, echoed across the walls like thunder. Kody's jaw tightened. Robyn's eyes darted from side to side, her fingers gripping the table. Even the judge leaned forward, brows raised, as if she knew this was not going to be just another reality TV scandal. Meri continued, her eyes locked on Kody. "Inside this envelope," she said slowly, "is something that could shatter everything you've built. Everything you told us to believe." For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Then, like glass beginning to crack under pressure, the lies started to fracture. This, what we are watching now, is the part the cameras never showed. The story TLC didn't dare to air. Because beneath the scripted smiles, beneath the talk of faith and family, there was something darker, something that had been hiding in plain sight. When the final gavel falls, someone isn't just losing a case. Someone's going to jail. So before we dive deep, let me ask you, the one watching, do you think Robyn waited too long to tell the truth? Or is this finally her time to stand up, even if it means destroying everything she tried to save? Because what's about to unfold started long before the cameras rolled. It began in early October. The Brown family wasn't a family anymore, it was a collection of broken bonds and silent rooms. Christine had left. Yanel was gone. Meri, watching, waiting, hurting. And Robyn. She was clinging to Kody like a woman holding onto the last edge of a collapsing cliff. But beneath the surface, a storm was forming, quiet, invisible. According to the evidence, Kody Brown, the man who once called himself the patriarch of a plural family, had allegedly been rerouting family funds into a separate LLC. And the name on that LLC? Not his. Not the family's. Robyn's. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was financial. It was the kind of wound that doesn't heal, because it cuts through trust, through loyalty, through everything that once made them a family. Meri's mind flooded with memories, the shared bank accounts, the construction projects, the family vacations to Europe they could barely afford. What if every moment she thought was a gesture of love, was just a cover for a financial escape plan? She couldn't carry it alone. So she called Yanel. Then Christine. Two women who had walked away, but never stopped caring about the truth. When they sat down at the table together, it felt like old times. Until Meri laid down the papers. Silence. Then Christine's voice, steady but shaken. "If this is real," she said slowly, "then Robyn's not the favorite wife, she's the partner in crime." Yanel's tone turned sharp. "We have to take this to court. But suing the man who once held your hand, the man who called you family. That's not easy. Especially when that man has built his empire on charm, control, and TV fame." Still, they moved forward, because the truth demanded it. The lawyer's office was quiet. The words financial fraud, marital asset misappropriation, secret LLC hung in the air like accusations with teeth. The stakes weren't just money. They were time, prison time. And soon after, a man in a brown jacket walked up to Kody's front door in Flagstaff. The cameras weren't rolling, but if they had been, the footage would have shattered the internet. Kody opened the door in a flannel robe, eyes swollen with sleep. When he saw the envelope, his expression darkened instantly. "You think you can come after me?" he shouted. Meri didn't flinch. "No," she said. "We're coming after TH. Arizona Superior Court. Courtroom 3B. This was no TV set. No retakes. No editors to control the narrative. Here, the only script was the law. Meri arrived first. Calm. Poised. Her hair tied back, her clothes soft in color, but strong in presence, the image of a woman ready to fight, not for revenge, but for truth. Yanel entered next, a folder clutched tightly in her hands, spreadsheets, transactions, notes. Christine followed, her notebook thick with years of memories, comments, and moments that never felt right. Then came Kody and Robyn. He looked defiant. She looked broken. But neither of them looked innocent. The judge entered, firm and direct. This court is now in session. The sound of that gavel wasn't just the start of a trial. It was the start of the end. The first witness was the forensic accountant. Calm. Steady. He moved through his testimony like a surgeon with a scalpel. He laid out the data, transaction by transaction, account by account. Money leaving joint accounts. Funds diverted to business names tied only to Robyn. Checks signed the same week Christine left. Accounts closed within days of family arguments. Each word tightened the noose. Kody shifted in his seat. Robyn's face went pale. Then came the second witness, the one that changed everything. A former TLC producer. Subpoenaed by Meri's legal team. His testimony was short but devastating. He said Kody had repeatedly asked editors to cut certain conversations. Tone down the financial arguments, delete footage showing the family fighting over money. The courtroom murmured. This wasn't just fraud. This was image manipulation. The judge banged her gavel. Order in the court. Robyn broke down, not quiet tears this time, but loud, gasping sobs. They are making me a villain, she cried. Christine stood, her patience gone. You did that all by yourself, she said coldly. The courtroom had turned into the family battlefield. Only now, the world was watching. And just when everyone thought. The silence after the verdict wasn't peace, it was pressure. A slow, rising tide of disbelief and reckoning. Cameras flashed like lightning, reporters whispered in fevered tones, and the air grew thick enough to choke on. Yet through it all, two figures stood locked in silence, Meri and Kody. No screams. No tears. Just a stare that cut through years of manipulation and make-believe. You built a kingdom on our backs. Meri's voice trembled, not with fear, but with power long buried. And then you buried us beneath it. Her words hit harder than any gavel could. Kody blinked, his usual swagger flickering out like a candle in the wind. I did what I had to do, he muttered, voice brittle. None of you believed in me. Meri stepped forward, the sound of her heels echoing like thunder across marble. I trusted you more than anyone, she said, voice cracking with history. That's why this betrayal cuts the deepest. Because sometimes, the wounds that last forever aren't made by strangers, they are made by the people who swore they'd never hurt you. The room froze. But the next twist was waiting. The forensic accountant, the same quiet man, who had once been dismissed as overly thorough, was called back to the stand. Only this time, he didn't bring spreadsheets. He brought proof. Literal receipts. Stacks of them. Family funds spent on high-end SUVs registered under Robyn's name. Private school tuition for her children, while the others homeschooled. A $30,000 jewelry order for my sister-wife's closet, never shipped. And then, a single payment. Small in size. Devastating in meaning. A transfer to a private investigator. The judge raised her brow. A private investigator. Yes, Your Honor, the accountant replied. Paid from the family's joint account. The investigator was tasked with following Christine after her departure. The world seemed to tilt for a moment. Christine's face drained of color. You spied on me. Robyn looked stunned. Kody, silent. We'd like to call Mr. Kody Brown to the stand. A gasp swept the courtroom. And then, stillness. Kody walked forward. Shoulders tense. Jaw locked. The man who once commanded attention now looked like someone trapped by his own reflection. Mr. Brown, the lawyer began, did you personally authorize payment for this investigator? A pause. Yes. Was the purpose to follow Christine's financial activity? She left without talking to me. I had to protect what was mine, Kody said, his tone rising. Christine stood up, trembling but unbroken. It was never yours, she said coldly. When a man forgets what family means, he turns love into ownership. Kody's jaw twitched. I was angry. They were all leaving. I didn't know who to trust. The attorney pressed harder. Is that why you rerouted funds? Why you transferred money into Robyn's name and set up accounts under a dissolved LLC? Kody's eyes flashed. You think I'm a criminal? I kept the show alive. I built this family from nothing. I gave them a future. Yanel's voice cut through the noise like glass. You gave Robyn a future. The rest of us just paid for it. The courtroom erupted, whispers, gasps, chaos. The judge slammed the gavel down. But the damage was done. Later, in chambers, her voice softened only slightly as she read her off-the-record statement. There is enough evidence to proceed with formal fraud charges pending review. The courtroom didn't explode this time. It collapsed. Robyn began to sob, quiet, trembling. Kody sat hollow-eyed. And Meri, she stood tall. Christine crossed the aisle, her voice barely above a whisper. We might never be whole again, she said, but this was justice. Yanel nodded. And truth. For the first time in years, their unity wasn't born from television, it was born from pain. But before the judge could adjourn, something unexpected happened. A bailiff stepped forward, holding an unmarked envelope. Your Honor, this just arrived. No sender. Yanel nodded. And truth. For the first time in years, their unity wasn't born from television, it was born from pain. But before the judge could adjourn, something unexpected happened. A bailiff stepped forward, holding an unmarked envelope. Your Honor, this just arrived. No sender. The judge hesitated, then tore it open. Inside, a flash drive. A chill swept through the room. Does anyone know who sent this? She asked. Every head shook. She slid it into the courtroom screen. The screen flickered to life. And then, a voice. Grainy video. A timestamp. Kody's voice, clear as crystal. If Meri ever finds out about this, we'll just say she's crazy. No court will believe her anyway. The silence that followed was nuclear. Meri gasped. Christine took her hand. Yanel froze. And Robyn whispered, just loud enough for the MIC to catch it. He told me she'd never fight back. The judge didn't move for a long moment. Her eyes locked on Kody, who suddenly looked much smaller than before. This is no longer about money, she said finally. This court is now deliberating charges of defamation, coercive control, and obstruction of justice. The air was gone. Even the cameras stopped clicking. Robyn looked lost. Christine looked alive. And Meri, she looked free. But the storm wasn't done. Christine stood again, voice firm. Your Honor, I have something else. The judge nodded. Proceed. Christine pulled out a worn notebook, the same one she had carried since day one. Scribbled notes, underlined phrases, dates. She read aloud, February 2nd, 2021, Kody said to me, and I quote, "If Meri stirs up trouble, I'll just bring up her depression. That'll shut her down fast." Gasps rippled through the gallery. Even the stenographer stopped typing. Yunel's voice was a whisper, sharp and sad. "He's done it before. He weaponizes your weakness, then plays the hero when you fall." Kody shot up, voice booming. "Lies? Twisted lies. You're twisting my words." The judge. The hush inside that courtroom could slice through the air like a blade. Leon Brown takes a slow breath before speaking. Cameras flash through the hallway glass, muffled voices echo beyond the door, but in here, time stops. Their voice doesn't tremble. It doesn't quiver. It's calm, deliberate, and hauntingly resolute. "I watched everything," Leon begins. "Not just what you saw on TV. I saw what it did to Mom. What it did to all of them. The silence. The fear. The control. And I'm here because there comes a point when silence becomes complicity." Kody stares straight ahead, not blinking, his jaw tightening. But his fingers drum against the table, tiny, restless, betraying his calm facade. Leon continues. "I remember nights when Mom would sit in her room and just stare at the door, waiting for an apology that never came. 'You broke something, Dad. Something no amount of money or show contracts can fix.' Meri's eyes glisten, but her shoulders remain squared. She's hearing her child's pain, but she's also seeing a reckoning decades in the making." The prosecutor nods. "Leon, did you ever witness your father using intimidation or manipulation within the family?" Leon exhales. "Every day. He'd call it leadership. He said obedience was the foundation of love. He'd say, 'If you question me, you're questioning God.' That's how control hides, in words that sound holy but feel like chains." Gasps ripple through the spectators. Even the judge leans forward slightly. Kody's face reddens, his voice low and gravelly. "That's an exaggeration," he mutters. But Leon looks directly at him. "Is it? Because every time one of us spoke up, you used Mom's past pain as a weapon. You'd say she was unstable. That we were ungrateful. You taught us to fear your silence more than your anger." Robyn covers her face with trembling hands. Christine and Yunel exchange looks that speak volumes, shared understanding, shared exhaustion. The prosecutor steps closer. "Leon, can you tell the court what?" The hush inside that courtroom could slice through the air like a blade. Leon Brown takes a slow breath before speaking. Cameras flash through the hallway glass, muffled voices echo beyond the door, but in here, time stops. Their voice doesn't tremble. It doesn't quiver. It's calm, deliberate, and hauntingly resolute. "I watched everything," Leon begins. "Not just what you saw on TV. I saw what it did to Mom. What it did to all of them. The silence. The fear. The control. And I'm here because there comes a point when silence becomes complicity." Kody stares straight ahead, not blinking, his jaw tightening. But his fingers drum against the table, tiny, restless, betraying his calm facade. Leon continues. "I remember nights when Mom would sit in her room and just stare at the door, waiting for an apology that never came. 'You broke something, Dad. Something no amount of money or show contracts can fix.' Meri's eyes glisten, but her shoulders remain squared. She's hearing her child's pain, but she's also seeing a reckoning decades in the making. The prosecutor nods. "Leon, did you ever witness your father using intimidation or manipulation within the family?" Leon exhales. "Every day. He'd call it leadership. He said obedience was the foundation of love. He'd say, 'If you question me, you're questioning God.' That's how control hides, in words that sound holy but feel like chains." Gasps ripple through the spectators. Even the judge leans forward slightly. Kody's face reddens, his voice low and gravelly. "That's an exaggeration," he mutters. But Leon looks directly at him. "Is it? Because every time one of us spoke up, you used Mom's past pain as a weapon. You'd say she was unstable. That we were ungrateful. You taught us to fear your silence more than your anger." Robyn covers her face with trembling hands. Christine and Yanel exchange looks that speak volumes, shared understanding, shared exhaustion. The prosecutor steps closer. "Leon, can you tell the court what?" "Who?" the judge asks. "My father," Leon says. Talking to producers about how to shape the narrative. Saying, and I quote, "We'll make Robyn the saint. The others will look tired, confused, broken. That's good TV." Robyn gasps audibly. The courtroom explodes again, this time, whispers of disbelief mixed with outrage. The prosecutor continues, "Did you provide this to the court?" Leon nods. "Yes. I submitted it with the flash drive." Now the revelation clicks. The anonymous evidence wasn't from a stranger. It was from within. Kody leans back, disbelief twisting across his face. "You did this to me," he spits. "After everything I gave you." Leon's response is quiet, but it carries the weight of years. "You didn't give us a life, Dad, you gave us a script." The courtroom falls deathly silent again. The judge finally breaks it. The court will recess for 20 minutes while the new evidence is reviewed. The gavel cracks, and everyone rises. Meri turns to Leon, tears streaking her cheeks. "You didn't have to do that," she whispers. "Yes, Mom," Leon replies. "I did." Outside, the Arizona sun cuts through the courthouse windows, casting long, fractured shadows over the tiled floor. Robyn sits alone at the defense table, her hands trembling, mascara smudged, no cameras around to capture her pain this time. Kody is pacing in the hallway, his lawyers whispering strategy, but his eyes are wild, like a man who just realized his empire has no walls left standing. Inside the quiet waiting room, Yanel leans toward Christine. "Do you think this will actually stick?" Christine exhales slowly. "For once, maybe. Because it's not just about money anymore. It's about truth. And truth doesn't settle out of court." The bailiff's voice echoes through the corridor. "All rise. Court is back in session." Everyone returns. The judge has her glasses low on her nose now, the sign of a woman who's seen enough nonsense for one lifetime. The court, she begins, has reviewed the footage. Kody's lawyer shifts nervously. "Your Honor, we object to the admissibility." Overruled, she cuts in sharply. "Mr. Brown, this isn't a television negotiation. This is real." The screen flickers to life again. The footage is rough, grainy, but unmistakable. Kody sits at a dining table, mic clipped to his shirt, talking casually with someone off camera. "We can't let Meri come off too sympathetic," his voice says. "People root for underdogs. We don't want that. Keep her crying, keep her conflicted. The audience loves a mess." Meri covers her mouth. Robyn sobs again, this time silent, shoulders shaking. Christine looks ill. The judge watches for a long time, then presses pause. "Mr. Brown, are you denying that this is your voice?" Kody's lips part, but no words come out, his silence answers for him. The judge exhales heavily. "This court will adjourn for today. Mr. Brown, you are hereby ordered to remain within state lines pending review of criminal charges. Court will resume Monday at 9 a.m. The gavel falls. Meri stands there, motionless, as the spectators buzz like hornets. Robyn tries to approach her, eyes wet. "Meri, I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know." Meri's voice is low, calm. "Maybe you didn't. But you didn't want to know either. She walks past her, through the reporters, through the noise, through the flashing bulbs. Leon walks beside her, and for the first time in years, she's not walking alone. Night falls over Flagstaff. The courthouse lights flicker off one by one. In a small kitchen somewhere across town, Christine, Yanel, and Meri sit around a wooden table. 3 mugs of untouched tea grow cold between them. Christine breaks the silence first. The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that vibrates louder than any scream. Even the ceiling fans seemed to stop. Every eye, every heartbeat, every tear was focused on that one chair in the center, where Kody Brown sat, hands clenched, face pale, eyes darting like a cornered man seeing his empire fall brick by brick. Meri, sitting just across, didn't blink. For years, she'd been silenced, mocked, and pushed to the shadows of her own story. But today the silence belonged to her. The judge adjusted her glasses and said, "Mr. Brown, before I read this verdict, I need to make something clear. Truth isn't just about evidence, it's about accountability." Those words sliced through the air like a blade. Robyn's face dropped. She tried to reach for Kody's hand, but he pulled it away. The distance between them, that invisible tension, spoke louder than any defense attorney ever could. Christine watched from the gallery, eyes glistening. Yanel sat beside her, her jaw tight, her hands folded, whispering something under her breath, maybe a prayer, or a warning. The clerk stood, holding the DNA results envelope, the very one that started this firestorm. Weeks of speculation, headlines, and chaos had led to this moment. The clerk opened it, her hands trembling. She cleared her throat. According to the DNA results presented to this court, every second felt like a year. Robyn clutched her pearls. Kody's knuckles went white. Meri's gaze was unbroken. "Mr. Kody Brown is not the biological father." Gasps echoed. Robyn's hand flew to her mouth. The audience erupted, reporters typing, cameras flashing, whispers rising like a wave that couldn't be stopped. Kody froze. His lips parted, but no words came out. Meri closed her eyes, not in shock, but in release. Years of emotional chains broke with that single sentence. The truth was finally out. The judge slammed her gavel once. Order in the court. Inside, Robyn sat frozen in her seat. Tears streamed down her face, not for the truth, but for the exposure. The mask had finally cracked. Kody, still seated, rubbed his temples, his world collapsing in silence. He mumbled, "They'll never understand. I did what I had to." But his words vanished into the chaos outside. Christine turned to Yanel. "He's finally facing it," she whispered. Yanel nodded. "It's about time." As Meri walked down the courthouse steps, rain began to fall, gentle, cleansing, symbolic. The sky, heavy with months of tension, finally let go. She paused halfway down, turned to face the flashing cameras, and said softly, "I didn't come here to destroy anyone. I came here to set myself free." The crowd fell silent. Those words, simple yet seismic, rippled across every screen, every headline, every fan base. Robyn finally stepped out, escorted by her lawyer, covering her face. Reporters shouted, "Robyn, were you aware of the DNA falsification?" She didn't respond. She just kept walking, each step echoing guilt. And Kody. He emerged last. Alone. No wives. No applause. No empire. Just a man who once built a family on control, now facing a life built on truth he could no longer manipulate. He looked up at the sky.